Greetings, global marketing. Good evening. I can't believe the semester is already coming to a close. I just wanted to give you a quick update via video about the end of the class and what to expect, and specifically to spend a few minutes discussing your final paper. So I would like to say that the semester is coming to a close. What a whirlwind it's been. How much I am missing so much seeing you in person. This is my favorite semester because you get to see people off, talk about their jobs, and we all know we can't have that now, but I'm thinking of you and hope that I can connect with each and every one of you live someday in the future. The main topic here is your final paper, and I wanted to give you some context about what I expect from the final paper, and I'm going to attach this to one of the announcements in class. Or actually, I think I'm going to post this on the assignment itself, so you'll see it, and hopefully you'll find it. The final paper is the written portion of your first presentation. Okay, so your first presentation, if you think about it in the real world, when you're working for a company, your boss may send different groups to say, hey, we're looking to expand into different markets. I want people to do a feasibility study. We've used that term quite a bit. I want to see a feasibility study about doing business in different regions of the world. So this project was a feasibility study about your particular region, and then you're supposed to make a marketing plan based on that region. So we excluded the marketing plan due to the semester, and you're just writing up your market assessment. And the way that you can look at this is your boss says, hey, you guys have a couple days, give me some slides to give me an overview of your research for these regions. And now they picked a particular region and they say, we want the detail. We like what you said. We want you to write that up. So in a business, they wouldn't want you to write it up and spend all that time because the time's valuable. But give us an overview, and if we're interested, or even if it was a sales call, you give an overview and someone says, I'm interested, can you give me a written proposal? And that's where you go into the detail. So now I'm asking you for the written proposal based on your presentation. And I'm hesitant to use the word proposal because this is not necessarily a sales pitch, but I do want to see that you have mastery of the topics. And so one way you can look at your final paper is you talked about 3 general areas, and I'm just going these off the top of my head. Economic systems and stages of development. We're looking at culture, and we're looking at legal and political systems. The way that this turns into a 10 to 12 page paper, or 20 to 25 page paper as the original one was, you'll find that it starts to balloon really fast, because you basically take your outline, and when you talk about let's talk about legal and political systems, you get to the section on political risk. And I know I've hounded you on political risk, but you would start off with maybe with a heading that says political risk, and you would give a general explanation, maybe a full page about political risk if that's really important to your region. Political risk is defined as, you give the definition as we discussed in class, give examples of the way political risk is used in a general sense, and then in the last paragraph or two, you talk specifically about your region or country and how you address political risk. And so in essence, this would be a template that the whole class could use the template and then just insert your little section. And that's the way this could be used. That's the way these companies use this, is you could define political risk, and it would be really easy for then you to do another region and to bounce around. But I want to make sure that you get into the definition of the topic, give some context behind why you're talking about the topic, and then say, with that knowledge, here is how we are going to approach political risk. Here's how we're going to approach culture. So the culture aspect, you would go into detail about Gert Hofstede and talk about how his cultural assessment and how it applies to national culture, and talk about each one. You might go into detail about each of the areas of Hofstede's cultural assessment, the power dynamics. You might talk about gender. You can go into detail of each one and then say, for my country, here is what our comparisons are to the United States. And so you can see how this paper will start to balloon pretty quickly without a lot of new content that you're creating. And I hope that makes sense. But the other aspect of this that I want you to know is, within this assignment, I created a new rubric specifically for the paper. And this is the rubric based on the paper, not including the marketing plan. The first 30 points, it's 50 points. The first 30 points are based on content. And so you're going to have 3 areas of content: political or economic systems, you're going to have culture, and you're going to have political and legal systems. The third one was about managerial relevance, if I can remember that correctly, where I'm saying, is what you're writing managerial relevant? And then the fourth one was about the layout of the paper. Was it communicated effectively? Did you use table of contents? Did you use headings? Did you use tables? Did you explain your things well from a managerial perspective? Okay, right? I want someone to be able to pick up this report, to thumb through it, to get an idea of what you're talking about, and then to be able to dive into sections in a deeper sense when they need to. And so that's the way a good report is written. So again, make sure you have a really strong introduction. Use a table of contents, specifying page numbers. Use exhibits. Use inside your paper, or use them in the appendix if you just follow APA style. Either one works if you put them as appendices. What I don't want is you just to put tables to fill up your 10 or 12 pages. If you're going to have an unusual amount of tables, it might make sense to put them in the appendices and just highlight that in the paper. But I expect you to be able to insert graphs to make this as a communicatable paper as possible and with managerial relevance. And so I hope that helps. And I just wanted to put some of this in a video format to at least connect with you. But I would just like you to think about, from the perspective, you're giving this presentation to either your boss or the board or a group in the company that are making real decisions about where the company should invest or what new market they should go into. And while you're not necessarily pitching your area, you're trying to show that you have mastery of the region, and you're trying to show that you are very knowledgeable about all the aspects that we're talking about. In the end, excuse me, if the marketing plan was involved, I'd have you give a recommendation about whether to go ahead on this. But in the end, you might conclude that, hey, Brazil, the political risk is way too high, and we recommend that we don't go into this until things stabilize. Not everybody has to make that recommendation, but you could add something like that at the end. So I hope this helps. I'm going to include this with other information about the paper and just upload this. I congratulate all of you graduating seniors, and I look forward to reading all of your papers. One last bit I want to add is, included with this paper is also a survey about your other team members. So this is the chance, when I talked in the beginning of the semester about team members putting in equivalent amount of work and the struggles we have, because not everybody puts in the equivalent amount of work. But if a team member has been particularly not involved, not engaged, not helpful, there is an anonymous survey that I ask everybody to fill out that allows you to rate your team members. And I would say that 9 out of 10 teams, or maybe 8 out of 10 teams, they all say that people contributed as well as possible. They all did pretty well on this paper. In the other 2 or 1 or 2 teams that I might get in the class, it's pretty clear that one team member didn't participate well or didn't pull their weight. For those of you that feel like you might not have pulled your weight so far, this is your chance to really help out with the team on this final paper. Jump in and say, hey, I haven't been there, but I want to help out. I want to jump in and take a leadership role in this. But I do reserve the right to adjust grades on poor performing team members. And I do want to know that the survey is it's not anonymous, because I know who wrote it, but I will not share it. It's confidential, and I will not share who wrote what about other team members. If I downgrade another team member, I'll let them know they got downgraded, but I will certainly never let them know who wrote what comments about them. So I hope that helps answer your questions. I'm going to post this alongside the assignment or in the announcement, so you can actually see this, and I hope it helps. I wish all of you seniors a good luck, and hope your jobs go as planned. I hope there's some silver lining in this whole COVID-19 thing, and I just hope everybody's staying healthy and staying sane throughout this whole process. Congratulations, seniors and juniors. I look forward to seeing you in the fall on campus. Yes, good vibes about being on campus in the fall. I hope that's what's going to happen. Take care, everybody.